Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome along to the Schumacher Eclipse build. If you were with me yesterday, I did just a bit of a review on the car, the upgrades that they've made between the E3 and the E4. Hopefully you have checked that out if you haven't done so already. And I'm just going to, like I did with the Icon, going to go through a bit of a build and different steps so that if you've got the car, you can maybe learn a little thing or two as you go along, build along, and we can all get slightly better at this build process. I know I'm still trying to improve all the time, and hopefully that'll improve performance when I get onto the track. So the only option parts that I have got for the car so far are the put that, let me see that a little bit clearer. The alloy pivot, I'll put that in the box below. It gives a slightly different roll center compared to the stock one, and probably a little bit more durable as well, less flex. And the other thing that I have got are these alloy thread inserts. They're black, and they're just slightly more stealth looking than the brass ones that come with the kit. So those are the two main features that I've purchased. Oh, and one other thing, I got myself a mass damper as well, which is a new component part from Schumacher, goes on the front of the car. So I'll build that and talk you through that when the time comes. So I'll just set those bits aside for now, because we won't need those just yet. Put those to the side there. The tools that I will be using is my little set of hoodie tools. Obviously got my turnbuckle wrench, got a ride height gauge, got various 4 different size wrenches, and a couple of forgotten the name what they are. Anyway, hex drivers, that's it. There on the side. Also have a pair of pliers, long nose pliers that I always have close by too, just in case. I shouldn't need those, but that's pretty much the setup that I've got going on. Well, let's get going. So with the Schumacher manual, always goes through the various components that or parts that you'll need for the build, and the hop up parts that you can get, the body shell that they recommend, the paint and all that kind of stuff, which is always useful, important safety notes. And then they do it rather nicely, like most of these kits now go through bags, or not. Actually, not all of the kits have done that, namely the automatics. So got all of these kits. Now this is going to be from step 1 to 7, just so that you don't have to trawl through a whole full-length video. I wanted to break it down into parts. I'm just sorting out the bags here, getting steps 1 to 7. So 1, don't need that. Step 9, step 6, 1. There's only 1. Step 2 and 3. Always like to get the bags out and ready, so it's a nice smooth process. Step 3. So what am I looking for? 1, 2, 3. So just bag 2. Need the chassis. with the carbon bag, and there's step 2 there. Good. So got all the bags that I'm going to need for this part of the build. Set the box aside, manual over there, all my carbon parts there. Always comes with a nice tool bag, Allen keys, and a wrench there as well. Obviously, you don't particularly need any of those, but always good to have if you're a newbie to the hobby. So step one with the bag. So what we're going to be doing is putting the uprights in. Going to need that part there, which was floating around in the box. Perfect. Any questions you have as I go along, feel free to ask them. Good. So let's unpack the bag here. Maybe if I put a piece of paper up here, and we can see what we've got in the bag. Pop that down to the side. As always, tend to like to separate out all of the various components, because there is inevitably different length bolts, and it's always nice to have what's what. You know, like all of these things, the detail is the important part. We can all throw a kit together, but how good it's thrown together is another matter, isn't it? And maybe I'll put some music on as well, while away the boredom of lockdown fever. Oh, bit of everything. That's a bit too hardcore, isn't it? Let me know if that music's too loud. So I'm going to pop the there. You've got a bit better visual on what I'm doing. Obviously, you've got the chassis, you've got the countersunk side and the flat side. Obviously, we want to push that through on the countersunk side. There's only one nut. Screw that all the way down. Now this is a nut, and it comes with Loctite. In fact, in the box, Loctite is always your friend when you're building a new car, because, and I've had this just recently, I've had bits of my car unscrew itself where I've not Loctited something in. Even if you Loctite a bolt in, let it dry, and then go along and undo it and do it back up, it just creates a better join. Hey, what about that? Bit of Rocky. Come on. Let's get this out. Who's watching? Let me know who you are and where you're watching from. 4 of you online, a whole 4 of you. Loctite. So I'm just going to drop a dab of Loctite on that nut. fires itself out the top. Good times. That's that done. So we've got here we're going to now put these uprights in. These are the 8mm bolts. Check they're the right length. Tap a bit of Loctite on the end of there. Don't need to get carried away with the Loctite, but just a little bit in there. I always like to, if you can see that there, there's a, obviously there's a flat spot where you put the wrench on. I always like to have them lined up, don't like them twisted. So you've got a flat spot that just runs parallel to the chassis. OCD maybe, but I'll get it all lined up nicely. So that's that part. Then we work, again, I always like to go back to front on the chassis rather than just scattering myself around. So now I'm in the middle of the chassis here, and it's suggesting in the middle hole, and the carbon plate goes on. It's got an adjustable section here, slides forwards and backwards, and then it's got holes as well. So it's suggesting at the moment that you just place it in the sliding part. Washer on. Not keen on that silver washer. I'm going to take that off for now because I'm not buzzing off of that. Never needed a washer on there before. So that's just what I'm going to do. If it moves around, then I'll pop another washer on there, a black one. Not interested in silver. There we go. That's that done. That washer's for the bin. And then we go further forwards. So we now got these two little upstands here. Again, more Loctite on all of this stuff. This stuff is brutally annoying when you come back to your pit table and you found out that your car has been feeling a little bit funky with 3 minutes to go, not feeling as tight as it did at the start, only to find out that you've got bolts loosening themselves off all over the car. that. And then we've got 2 more uprights on the front end of the car. Excessive with the Loctite on that bit. Get rid of that. Let me know if you're out there. Got any thoughts, any questions? How are you spending your lock time? Your lock time? Your lockdown time? You working? You're fiddling with your cars or fiddling with yourself? So that's step 1 done. I'll turn those pieces of paper. On to step 2. Step 2. Hey James, how you doing, pal? Welcome along. So in this bag, I'll just put the light on. There. See what I'm doing. So in this bag, we've got the pivot, and that's the difference between the 2 pivots here. This is going to attach to the rear pod, so that, let's see if I can zoom in here for us a little bit, get a little bit closer. So you can see that the upgraded pivot, which is the alloy one, you can see that the upstand, if you like, is smaller than on the right hand side here, so it actually drops the pivot lower, or the pivot point lower, so affects the roll center, making it lower and giving you a bit more rear traction. So I've cast aside the plastic pivot and brought in the alloy one. That fixes straight to the chassis, and there's a little bolt that you get with the pivot here that allows you to tighten the clamp around the ball joint. So I won't tighten up at the moment, just keep that off. And that's where the ball joint slides into. James, my E4 is due to be delivered today. Excellent work. At work on lunch break, nice one. Tim Jansen, good day, Stu. Am I sensing that you might be Australian, Tim? If you are, whereabouts in Australia? I spent 6 years of my life down in Australia. Best time ever. So that needs to go. Always important to get the right orientation. That's going to go that way. Just going to separate out these parts. Cool. So that was with the plastic pivot. Don't need that one. So it advises you in the manual here to keep that bolt loose, as I was just talking about. Timmy from the Netherlands. Lovely. My sister lives there. Whereabouts in the Netherlands are you? So you can move the pivot forwards and backwards. I'm just picking up this is the old chassis. It has those adjustable holes as well. Sorry, I'm taking a bit of time over this, aren't I? More Loctite again. So because the aluminium pivot is shorter and lower profiled, it means that the bolts supplied are a little bit on the long side. So I'm just going to go into my box here and see if I've got some bolts that are a little bit shorter so they don't protrude. Out the top, because I'm not a fan of that. I need some shorter bolts. Oh, there they go. Perfect. So the ones that come with the car are M3/8s, and I'm just making them a bit smaller so that they don't. So you can see at the moment that bolt there is hanging out the top, not buzzing off of that at all. So I'm just going to test to make sure that that one doesn't. So there we go. So this one here, this one isn't protruding out the top. You can see that there. Oh God, talk about difficult to work out the orientation. There you go. I've actually got an even shorter bolt there. That might work so it doesn't come out the top at all. Yeah, that's perfect. So you can see that I've used an even shorter bolt. I don't know what the length of it is, but the very shortest countersunk bolt that I've got in my box, which fits perfectly. So they don't sit at the top. Happy days. Lovely. Take that one out. see there's quite a bit of difference there between the length of the bolts. I'm just adjusting. Not rocket science, but all helps in the build, getting it right. I think I'm certainly prone to, have been in the past, rushing this process in a urge to get it done, but no racing going on, so no rush. Yeah, I'm not sure where my sister lives in relation to that. I think she's just outside Amsterdam. But no, good to have you along. Thanks for being here. Whereabouts because obviously you had Limburg in the Netherlands. I assume that's where you used to do all your racing. I just may have made a bit of a boo-boo there, because I think I'm supposed to lift that. Yeah, idiot. So back to the pivot again. Take those two bolts off. I need to lift up that pivot with those two spacers. Yeah, shame it's gone, isn't it? Really, really not good at all. It was brilliant to race at, that's for sure. So because that pivot has already got Loctite in, don't need to add more. Perfect. That's it. That's that done. Got there in the end. Christ, faffing around with that. So now we're working forwards, and we've got a couple of these ball studs on the side. Again, want to go with some Loctite on these. There we go. All starts in. Super stuff. And then we're now popping in the upright. Bit more Loctite. Use the wrench. Just want to square that up if I can. Super. That's that done. And then that ball start is going to sit on the top of that. Bit more Loctite. And there we go. Let's get rid of those. Let's trim ones down. Just double check that we've gone through everything. Yeah, so that's step 2 done. Now we're moving on to step 3 and building the rear pod. Set that aside just for a moment. So the bag bolts in there. So this is step 3. Step 3 bag. Different length bolts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this car with no electrics in it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to weigh the car. My GT and my LMP wheels, rear wheels, should be turning up today. Schumacher unfortunately sent me GT12 rear wheels instead of LMP wheels, the rear ones, which is a bit of a blow, but these things happen. Very, very quick to respond. Emailed them, fired back an email, and Kaz James at the sales department fired out the new ones immediately. So really good customer service there by Schumacher. I don't think anyone can, we all make mistakes. it's how you respond to them that's the important part, isn't it? I think, you know, all this customer service stuff, filthy stuff. Good. So that's that. I need the carbon bag with all these carbon bits in. Looks like I need this bit. Looks like I need this bit. Red pod. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. What am I missing? Oh, that cross place as well. And that bit there. That's out the carbon bag. Perfect. See what's going on the page. I believe that we only have 2 indoor locations, and one of those was just building up till it was shut down again last October. That's a real shame. Well, let's hope we get some new venues sometime soon. Alrighty. So in the manual, again, I'm always going to start from, well, back to front, even though it's front to back, you know what I mean. So to start with, now I'm going to open out my pack here. Now, Schumacher, very cunning. These glass inserts that are now aluminium inserts. So you can see they're exactly the same, but just in black, which is rather cool. Pleased about that. Double check everything is the same before I start running amok and putting these in everywhere. Use the calipers just to check they're the same size. Yeah. Yep, they're the same. Now, there are 9 of these brass inserts on the car, but they sell them in packs of 8. So this one here, if you're going to use these, the one that sits on this ball stud here is covered up by the ball stud. You can see where it's inserted, so it wouldn't matter if it's brass, that one. So I'm going to keep that one as a glass one and change all the others, so it won't make any difference there. So got to make sure that you've got the right orientation on this part. It is not symmetrical. So this one, the brass insert comes from under, and if you've never used or inserted these brass inserts, it's quite a clever little idea. You put a couple of washers in here, and then what you do, stick that on the top where you're trying to pull the brass insert through, and then you screw the brass insert in from the bottom. and it pulls it through the carbon, which is quite cool. It's cool for the first two that you do, and then it's a bit boring. So I'm just going to double check I've got that all right. It's been pulled up from the bottom. That's the side. And that's the only brass one that I'm going to fit. Let's say that's going to be hidden by the ball stud. So that's the one that I don't need to worry about. So now I'm going to go the other way and then pull these ones in from this direction. Cool. So there we go. Black inserts instead of that ghastly brass colour. Yeah, cool. Andy Thompson, good friend of mine, pointed me out those. Nice spot, Andy. Very pleased with that. And then the ball studs are going to go in there. Once again, more Loctite. That's the one that's not going to be seen. And then these ball studs are going to be going up from under. Boom. Cool. That's that part done. Again, this is not symmetrical, not particularly clear in their diagram, but take your time and all fairly clear. You've got different length bolts on the front and the rear of the car, of the pod. That's the motor side. That's the non-motor side. So we've got short on the front. More Loctite. If you didn't see the video that I did yesterday, the pod plate, this carbon plate here, is 0.5 mil thicker than its predecessor in the E3. So if you didn't tweak it before, there's absolutely no chance you're going to be tweaking this one. That's then going to sit on there. Once again, short on the front, long on the rear. More Loctite going in. make sure she's flat as a pancake. So I just stick it on the desk, hold it in the middle, tap, middle, tap, absolutely flat. That's really nice, like that. Now previously, when you built, okay, yeah, so still the same. So my issue is that when you then put these two bolts on here, you do those up, because they are not sitting countersunk like these 4 other bolts, you're not able to stick it on the deck and see if it's perfectly flat. I don't really understand why that's not possible, why they can't countersink these. You know, make that lip a little bit longer if there isn't enough room to countersink these bolts here. And that's even possibly something that you could do as a mod, just countersink on these 2 parts here of this back plate here. I think that's a bit of a missed trick there, really. Not whinging, just a thought. That's interesting. On the manual, on all of the other bolts, so that bolt there, that bolt there has you able to size it up. That bolt there has you able to size it up. But these bolts down at the bottom here, ×4. Okay, so fair enough. They say ×4 up here. Don't measure that one up. Okay, so all right, that's good. So saying they're all 4s. I just think, you know, for people that are really new to the hobby, I think we need to make this whole process as simple as possible. That's that as well. Right, got one more insert to pop in the back there. So that's the car. Again, just on the back here, really important to make sure that you get the right orientation of this component here. It's going to be matching the offset, if you like, of that component there. And of course, it matches up with this part. The center of the pod is here, so obviously you want the center point there as well. So all fairly self-explanatory, but important maybe to point out. Once again, screw that in. Excellent. That's that bit done. And then I believe we just got the top to put on. Lovely. Oh, and the back, of course. There we go. And two more. And squeeze a little bit more of this Loctite out. More Loctite. Overzealous with my Loctite. You watch that bit of bolt that comes out. There we are. She's built. Bolt over there. Don't need those brass inserts. Ghastly things. Keep the stealth up top. And sheet over, fresh page. Boom. There we are. There's the pod built. Nice bit of kit, isn't it? Lovely. So that was step 3. Now on to step 4. It's going to be fixing the other half of the pivot. Couple of ball studs. Fixing the droop screw in at the back there. It's fairly simple stuff. Bag 3. Bag 4 rather. Bag 4. We don't need the plastic pivot. There's plastic one. There's the alloy one. Once again, you can see there's a height differential between the two. And also, if that's the same, yeah, there's a height differential in the height of the pivot as well. Super, so I don't need that. Just need to remind myself of what I do spacer wise off of my E3. Okay, so yes, we've got some 1mm spacers under that as well. So set that up there. It's going to sit on there. And that's going to sit on a couple of spacers. Let's get these bolts measured out. So I'm going to put the ball stud in. Bit more Loctite. One part that you do not want coming loose. Make sure you get some Loctite in there. And then we're going to get those shims. Just going to see how. Okay, so that's not going to pop out the top, which is good. I'm going to tighten that up just yet. I'm going to slide that shim under. A bit more Loctite. Put that in there. Tighten it up, both sides. And there we go. It's simple enough. Then we're going to pop those ball studs in on the side. Super easy build, really. Take your time, get prepped. Wallet. There she is. Then that rub screw at the back. It tells you how much you want, but I'm not going to pay too much attention to that just in a minute. It's going to get screwed in. Adjust that at a later date. Perfect. There we go. So step 5, cracking on through. Yeah, I've been going an hour already. Not good. So we are now on to fitting this on the chassis. There's the chassis. Push it in there. Very good. Great. So step 5, open the bag up. What are your thoughts about the new rear wheel hubs, Tim? I think it's a very smart play, to be honest with you. I think we've got 6 bolts that are not spinning around, so that's it's got to have a negative effect compared to the single bolt mechanism. And I think when you then add in the fact that effectively, if it's an improvement, you are pulling everyone to the contact wheel until things change, with other manufacturers bringing out a single nut wheel, I think it's an absolute, barnstormer of a tactic to get people just running the contact tight. If it's better, if it's faster, if it is, then for the foreseeable, until people change their tooling and their approach, they're going to absolutely corner the market. Good on them. Innovation. They're not sitting. They won with the world champs, and they're still innovating. So I think it's a stellar move. Listen, it's still unproven, right? We haven't tested it. None of us have driven it. So at the moment, if it's good, then it'd be very surprising if they haven't gone back to back with it. That it has to be an improvement. So yeah, I think it's a good idea at the moment, certainly from a commercial aspect. So now we've got the rear spring. Again, not going to set that, just going to put that on. Hey Steve, welcome along, pal. What do you think, Tim, of the rear hub setup? the rear new wheel design. Steve, I'm really well, thanks, pal. Cracking on through the build. Steve was doing the same thing, doing a live build of his car. Have you finished it, Steve? And what are your thoughts of it? Anything that you've spotted along the way that's a bit different? Anything that you like? Give us some insight to all of the 8 people that are watching me at the moment. And to be fair, have been watching me fairly consistently. So thanks for everyone being here. Now this is a little tip for you. On these side links, there is a big hole and a small hole. Make sure you put the bolts through the big hole. I know that sounds a bit silly, but I've often pushed these on and then found that I've put them in the wrong orientation. That might be just me because I'm a bit of a donut, but experience has taught me that. So I've just given you a little bit of a top tip there. Now you want to make sure that before you even put the bolts in, these are got some good play in them, so that when you then come to do these up on the side, it doesn't want to change. All these are doing is stopping the side links from opening up and coming off. So Steve says, all good so far. Trued some of the new wheels and they clamped up really nicely, getting ready to finish it off in a bit. Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm just doing up to step 7, and then I'm going to be going and taking my lunch break. So if you want to catch Steve over on Facebook, he'll be finishing the build. If you want to have a preview of what that's going to look like, Steve will be doing that. But so far, I think it goes together really nicely, doesn't it, Steve? It's all the materials are nice. Did you see my trick inserts, Steve? Black ones, not the brass. Oh, what? You saw it here first. You saw it here first. I got them off of Andy Thompson. He pointed me in the right direction. I found them on Model Sport. They are unfortunately now all sold out. Because we took the last 3 packets. They come in pack of 8, and there are 9 brass inserts on the car. So the only one that I haven't done is that one there. Left it, but you can't see it. So all is good with that. So they are done up. They won't come off. And that's the car so far. I'm going to get rid of more dirty pieces of paper. Get a couple of freshies out so you guys can see, because black on black is not ideal. There we go. So Tim says, I think it's a great, especially because you change the wheel every run, but also a lot of people still have the normal wheels in stock. So if you change brands now, you definitely need the option part. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you can still you can back to back it, can't you? You can go out with your old wheels and old axle, and then you can go out with your new axle and new wheels. If it's not better, then it will be a bit of a pointless exercise for Schumacher. And actually, yeah, just a bit of pointless exercise. So I'm sure there'll be a bit more thought behind it. So that was, I've actually done step 5A and step 5B. Again, in Schumacher, they do give you all the setup guides for how much you want to set your rear spring. So that's all good. Step 6. So we need to set the car aside. Don't need that. Step 6. So here we are. Side springs, some standoffs. Different bolt sizes. Now I've got 6 brass inserts there, which is stressing me out because I thought I'd only counted 9 in the manual. So we'll wait and see. Hopefully they've given me a spare one. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Yeah, there is another 6 to go. Shit, sir. So I'm going to have to use, so those ones on the outside. These ones here I'll use as brass as well. They're hidden enough anyway. Alrighty. Back to the carbon bag. We need that part. Insert MV. Yeah, nice, aren't they? I'm quite pleased with those. We just need those 2 parts. So what I'm going to do is insert the black bits first. So which one am I going to do? Black. I'm going to make that one there and that one there is brass. So I'll put the brass ones in first. They're lighter, Steve. Yeah. Let me go and get my scales. I'll even give you a weigh check on it. I mean, the service that I give to the community. I'm going to look like a right plum now if they're not light or not. So they are 0.3 of a gram. And they're 0.1 of a gram. So 0.2 of a gram lighter. There you go. Listen, lightweight, man. That's it. So those are the brass bits that I'm going to put in. Get my manual back out. Have I balanced the pod? I haven't, well, built it. I haven't balanced it yet. It's only balanced with a doodah in. So that's coming up. Doodah. Have you lost it, Steve? Look at those black inserts, Steve. Hey, what? Have some of that. Have some of that. Black inserts, eh? What? Stop it. What's that? Look at those inserts. The simple things, man. The simple things. Simple things. The ball studs in. Get rid of that brass. There we go. That's the cross brace that does not have any brass. Then we're going to pop in battery strap from underneath. I'm going to move that forwards a few clicks because I've never run it that far back. What size are they? Pause. There we go. That's that. Then one thing I love about this is Schumacher do the spring holders in steel and not plastic. You get a nice straight thread into the holder, and you can get the bite at the end and the same both sides, which I really like. Not having indifferent length grub screws. Make sure that you got that length the same, and then that's really nice. Once that's done, screw those in around the side. There you go. Beautiful. Springs on. And what I do with the springs is, you can see that where the end of the spring, when it goes on, I always make sure that they are the same each side, in the same position each side, is what I'm trying to get at. Just twist them into spot. There we go. And then what I do, I measure from the top to the bottom. Oh, joke. $15. Slide that in. And they're exactly the same the other side, so I know that the lengths of the spring are the same both sides. Perfect. So then when I sit that on the stand-ups, pretty confident that it's going to be the same either side. I'm not doing anything else on that section. No. So step 6A is building that cross brace, and then step 6B is bolting that on. Oh, I haven't put the wrench. Where's the wrench? Can't find the wrench. Spanner to tighten that up. Ah, there it is. Man, look. That's it. It's done. Loctite for fun, man. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so while you're here. Won't miss any live feeds. Switch your notifications on. Got some great videos coming out. One on Ackerman, slip angles, tire friction, and stiction. Got some good stuff coming out. Great video on a fantastic tire cutter from Moody Falls as well. Check that out. Great. Yeah. So that's all nicely done. Super. That was steps 6A and B. And then we are on to the last section of this cast. And this is bolting on the side braces, or the top deck, if you like. Carbon bag again. Oh, I lost my bag then. There we go. There's all that. Don't need those brass inserts. Steve, there's some brass inserts there for you, mate, if you want them. That's that. And then, so these side decks or top decks going. So you got no countersink. Make sure you put the right side on the right side, if that makes sense. These bolts are all the same size, so don't need to separate those out. It's all fairly simple stuff. One more bolt. Oh, it goes together very nice, isn't it? God, what a difference it makes without those brass inserts. Really pleased about that. You might have noticed. So there we go. That's where we are up to. That's up to step 7 in the manual. I'm going to take a lunch break, and I'm going to do a little bit more this afternoon. Steve Donald, Stu, I would fit them after you do the front end, as it gets in the way massively. What are you referring to? Oh, what, the top deck? Too late, fitted. So there we go. That's up to step 7. I'll be back after lunch. Thanks all for being here. Don't forget to subscribe, like the post if you can, and I'll see you all again this afternoon. All the best.